You gotta love solo quest chains that abruptly end in group content. If you've been around Star Wars The Old Republic for very long, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But in case you don't know what I mean, I'm talking about the Seeker Droid and Micro-Binoculars quests, Oricon, and to a lesser extent, I suppose, Iacath. The first two end in H4s, largely because of mechanics, while the last two end in operations. All of these quest lines are perfectly doable on your own until the very last one, and then, boom, mandatory group content. And before people start flooding the comments with it's an MMO and that means grouping, let me just say I'm not talking about removing group content from the game. I'm specifically talking about having solo quest chains, some of which are long, arduous, and tedious, end in group content, without which you can never see the conclusion of the story that you might have been following for days or weeks. And I want to note that I'm talking about old content. Most of it came out nearly 10 years ago. Since then, BioWare has been pretty good about allowing people to finish the story on their own without the need to group up. So I'm not here to yell at the devs for putting Oricon or the Macro-Binoculars quests in the game. I'm just here to put my vote in for BioWare to somehow allow us to complete those quests on our own. I know this is a request as old as the content, but I was reminded of it recently while doing the Galactic Seasons objective where we had to use the Seeker Droid. The character I was doing it with had the final missions for the Seeker Droid and Macro-Binoculars quests in her log for years, and it really would be nice to be able to finish them at some point, to see the end of the story even if it's not much, and if nothing else to get them out of my quest log. Some people have proposed BioWare put these in Group Finder, and I suppose that might help some people, but as I don't use Group Finder, it wouldn't help me, so I'd like BioWare to just make them soloable. Remove the mechanics that require 4 people, and let us do them whenever we want, on as many characters as we want. So in this case, I guess I am advocating removing group content from the game, but it's so old, and so few people are probably doing it, I doubt anyone would notice. As for Oricon and Iacath, which end in operations, I suppose the solution might be a little more complicated, or maybe not. Maybe BioWare could just make a super dumbed down version of the operations, where we could just go through, kill the bad guys, and see the ending cutscenes. We wouldn't get any of the super cool operations rewards, we'd just finally be able to see the end of the storyline. And yes, I'm aware that the operation at the end of Oricon is the culmination of a series of operations in the Dreadmaster storyline, and I wouldn't say a thing about it if they hadn't made Oricon completely soloable up until the end. So I'd like to be able to see the end of it. And yes, I guess I could YouTube it, but it's really just not the same as doing it yourself. I'm much less fussed about Iacath. To be honest, I really don't care about the machine gods, but if they made a solo version, I would do it. Of course, I don't expect BioWare to do any of these things. My character will continue to have the Seeker Droid and Macro-Binoculars quests intermission log until the game shuts down, and I will continue to ignore the operations at the end of Oricon and Iacath. But what do you guys think? Would you like to be able to solo the Macro-Binoculars and Seeker Droid quests? Would you like a solo version of the operations at the end of Oricon and Iacath? Or is that a completely terrible idea that would ruin the game? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and all of that stuff, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.